Great Replacement Plan via illegal immigration proven not to be conspiracy theory as the empire of George Soros dictates in Project Syndicate. Now, this is something, George Soros, obviously, if you're going to be talking about conspiracy theories, here's a guy that is the source of many of them. Perhaps next to the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, the Soros family, because it really is no longer just George Soros. Alex Soros, the son, is now pretty much in charge from what we can tell. Yes, they are the source of many of the known conspiracy theories out there because they are globalists. They are evil globalists. They're not just globalists like, oh, we need global economic stability. No, they are full-blown globalists. They want the destruction of the United States of America. They're willing to do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. Now, people ask, why would they want to destroy America? America is the source of so much evil, and that is true. But America, at least for the globalists, is also a source of imbalance. So their intention is to take down the United States of America, to chop us down, and if by chopping us down they are able to rebuild us in their Marxist image, great. If they can't, if they chop down too far, and the United States collapses and perhaps even ceases to be a nation as we would know it, no big deal for them. All they want to do and all they've wanted to do for decades, at least decades to be clear, is to achieve their 10 regional powers, their one world government, one world economy, one world religion, the things that have always been called, oh, that's just a crazy Alex Jones conspiracy theory, except that it's backed by more than just us crazies out there. It's backed by strong evidence as well as the Bible itself. So let's call it what it is. These quote unquote conspiracy theories are almost certainly happening. The only theoretical aspect of it is that we don't know the full plan. We are starting to get a better picture of it. If there's one thing that the internet has been able to do positive, because most of it has been negative, to be clear. But the one thing that the internet has done positively is been able to connect people like you with people like me. It's been able to connect people like me with people like Alex Jones or Mike Adams or whoever. It enables us to let regular, ordinary people like you and me learn things that we never would have been able to learn before. And hopefully, Lord willing, we'll be able to disseminate this information. With that said, that's the prelude. The reason that prelude was important is because in their efforts to take down the United States of America, they invariably go after the quote unquote minor leagues first. They go after Europe. The European Union is their testing ground to see what could possibly work here in the United States of America. We have more freedoms than they do. We have many, 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 many more guns than they do. So they have to test out the psychological warfare, the psyops, and the various political, cultural, and faith-based attacks. They test those out in Europe and to some extent Australia and New Zealand as well. But they want to go after Western society and take it down. Now, there's a separate issue when it comes to, for example, China, when it comes to Eastern society, and they're not immune to it either. It's just a different tactic, different styles, different ways for the globalist elite cabal to go after them. All right, that's the setup, because this article over at naturalnews.com brings up a conspiracy theory that is quickly being proven to not be a theory. This is an absolute positive fact. This is by S.D. Wells over there at Natural News. And let's just go through the bullet points. Number one, George Soros, a wealthy financier, outlines a plan to flood the European Union with at least 1 million asylum seekers annually funded through long-term euro bonds. And I would argue that this is just the tip of the iceberg portion of the plan, that they really are trying to infuse Europe and the United States of America with tens of millions of quote-unquote asylum seekers. Invariably, they will come from areas that have poor economic conditions. Africa, South and Central America, the Middle East. They will use these because those asylum seekers will be very good foot soldiers in the globalist elite cabal's plans. Easier to control, easier to infiltrate and then to manage. We're already seeing it happening in many places in Europe, including Great Britain. Number two, the plan calls for, quote, safe channels to be established for asylum seekers, facilitating their movement from countries like Greece and Italy to other EU states, including Hungary. The influx of illegal immigrants is described as part of the Great Replacement Plan, aimed at supplanting the native population of invaded countries, leading to economic, social, and infrastructural disruption. Non-government organizations, the dastardly dreaded NGOs, are implicated in supporting the plan by providing resources, transportation, and logistical assistance to the illegal immigrants. The plan is portrayed as a coordinated effort to dismantle existing power, legal, religious, and educational systems, ultimately replacing conservative structures with what is characterized as an extremely liberal system. Now, I want to be clear. We don't need to get necessarily political about this. This is, look, if they were, anytime you start to establish these types of invasions without a shot being fired, right? It could be Ukrainians, it could be Japanese, it could be anyone. This is not about stopping those brown people from getting in. No, this really is about sovereignty. It's about establishing and perpetuating the benefits, and the benefits to all, to be clear, the benefits of maintaining cultural, faith-based, and even political standards that are based upon the sovereignty of an individual nation and the natives within that nation. This comes from a man. I am a legal immigrant myself. I have become fully embedded here in the United States. I have become a full-blown American. I have no secondary objectives. I have no affiliation with the nation where I was born. I don't have dual citizenship. What I have is America. I have America in my blood, and that's okay. But when we start getting this attempt to destroy cultures, this attempt to non-assimilation, I shouldn't say non-assimilation. They're not trying to bring in people who will assimilate into these countries. They're trying to bring in people who will assimilate those countries. It's a very big difference. Let's get in the article, though. In a Project Syndicate publication, the insidious mega billionaire George Soros lays out the 6 components of his comprehensive plan. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban reads to us what it very clearly states as its first point. And this is a quote. EU has to accept at least 1 million asylum seekers annually. Secondly, George Soros says that adequate financing is critical, meaning illegal immigration must be funded for at least 1 million refugees to be able to invade another country in 1 year. And again, these numbers are very conservative. They really do want it to be millions, not a million. They want it to be millions, if not tens of millions, and they want that to happen fast. For the financing, Soros plans to issue long-term euro bonds for financing the migration invasion, including their social and welfare needs like food, shelter, and travel money when they arrive in the EU. And anywhere else Soros funds these illegal alien invasions, like the USA for the past 4 years. George Soros even lays out in the plan specifically targeted at Hungary that safe channels must be established for asylum seekers, starting with getting from Greece and Italy to their destination countries, which means bring them in from Greece to Hungary. This is not just talking about a few hundred families around the European continent seeking a better life in a different country over the next 10 years. It's a written and published plan by an organized, internationally funded illegal immigration gang referred to as the Empire of George Soros. We need immigration. I know that that's unpopular for me to say in some circles, but we do need immigration, as does Europe, as does every country. But it has to be controlled, and it has to be extremely limited. I'm a big fan of merit-based immigration. I am. I want to be able to bring in people who love America, who want to become Americans, and who have absolutely positively no intention of attempting to assimilate us. I also want people who can bring in extreme levels of skills. Now, of course, this leads to the whole H-1B debate, which I am, Elon Musk said, let's raise the limits. In other words, make it to where hiring somebody through H-1B would be almost cost prohibitive. It would be cheaper for them to hire somebody, an American citizen. That's great. I like that. I like that a lot, but it still needs limits. The O1 visas, on the other hand, those are based upon extreme levels, and as it should be, extreme levels of not only vetting, but it's a competition. In other words, if you come in on an O1 visa, it's because you are a Nobel Prize winning scholar. Okay, it's very different from the H-1B system, as it should be. But instead of being able to focus on such things, instead of being able to have that debate, and I would love to have that debate with people, instead, we have to deal with the flood, the invasions. And it's not just here in the United States, it is in Europe, it is in Australia, it is in basically any Western nation that has established a degree of prosperity. They want that prosperity to be divided up amongst foreign invaders. Great replacement theory has been demonized as a word or as a phrase. They've tried to make it as if, oh, if you say that, that's because you're an isolationist, you're a racist, you're bigoted. There's nobody's trying to replace you. They just want to experience the same opportunities, or no, not even, they don't want your white privilege. They just want some opportunities better than what they have in their homeland. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Why are you being so bigoted? That's the narrative. That's the false narrative, to be clear. But as they say, the great replacement theory is false and ugly. I think it's quickly becoming a reality, and we need to wake up.